Welcome back to the Bitcoin.com studio, everybody. You guys can email us freedom@charliekirk.com and subscribe to the Charlie Kirk Show podcast page. That is the Charlie Kirk Show podcast page. Don't believe what you see, believe what you are told by the state. That's what Maxine Waters has to say. I want to welcome Kalin Johnson, a TPUSA Frontline's reporter, and also Anthony Kabasa, independent journalist. They were both on the ground in LA doing heroes work. Hello to you both. Let's play the cut from Maxine Waters here. He's just like, it's so incredible. Play cut 369.
Don't think that somehow, because they called out the National Guard, there was violence. There was no violence. I was on the street. I know. And I went from downtown detention back out into the community, talking to people what happened in Paramount, what happened in Compton, what happened in Inglewood. So, first of all, get it straight. And don't just rely on what you're being told or the few incidents that you saw.
Few incidents that you saw. Kalin, what is the truth of what you were reporting on the lines, front lines in LA? Kalin.
Well, the truth is that these are not a few incidents. It's widespread and it's completely intentional. And that's just the truth of the matter. You can look anywhere around downtown LA and you'll find broken, destroyed windows, businesses, looted businesses. They destroyed Waymos. They've destroyed countless number of cop cars. We've seen that footage of people throwing cinder blocks and other things at those police cars that were on the freeway, the 101. And this is all very reminiscent of what we saw in 2020. A lot of these people are likely not from Los Angeles. They're likely from elsewhere, but they're opportunists, they're parasitic, and they're here just to cause chaos.
So I'm going to follow up with that in a second. I have a question. So Anthony, independent journalist, Anthony Kabasa does great work. Anthony, what percentage of these people that were doing this were quote unquote professional agitators versus just rank and file people participating?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Charlie. So what I've been seeing on the ground, I'm actually in LA proper, and so I've been able to get to these protests since they began on Friday. You have Gavin Newsom that is saying that he's calling in the National Guard, and then and that is why the escalations have escalated now to violence, but that's just simply not the truth. I've been there since day one, which was Friday, and that was a protest against the ICE raids that have been ramping up here in Los Angeles. So you have a lot of these small organizations here locally that put these things together. You have the Black Lives Matter LA chapter. You have the PSL, which is a party of socialism and liberation, which is an oxymoron. There's no liberation through socialism. And there's also the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America. On top of that, you have these teacher unions and the SEIU that are making sure that there's flyers for everybody, making sure that masks are being delivered for everyone, that everyone has food and water. And surprisingly enough, what I have come to find, Maxine Waters wants to talk about how Paramount was without incident. That is a city next to Compton, California. I actually exclusively posted a video that I found of a pallet of bricks conveniently located to where ICE agents were setting up to go out and raid. It was actually a setup for them. It was a staging area for them to go out into multiple cities. But then a local city councilman, and a lot of people don't know this, it was a local city councilman that just so happened to be around that location, saw a DHS agent car go inside of the staging area. He put out a video saying DHS is getting ready to raid this Home Depot because the staging area was set in front of a Home Depot. And that's when people started to come and attack the DHS agents, was because of this city council member that made this video saying, guys, they're getting ready, be ready, make sure you come out here and protest peacefully. But of course, we know that led to violence.
So, Kalin, you've seen a lot of these type of demonstrations. What if anything, was there like a command and control type operation? And walk us through some of the more graphic elements of what you witnessed on the ground.
Right. So as far as command and control, I think a lot of that is, I'm speculating, is going to be on any internal comms. But what I've seen, since participating in covering these events, such as what we saw in 2020 also. A lot of the same formations. You have a lot of the same sort of agitative individuals up front in front of police officers, just continually hurling insults, things that are racist, things that are absolutely disgusting to these law enforcement officers. And then you'll have people sort of behind that will continually throw things and continually push forward until law enforcement has to start using less lethal weapons to get these people to back off. There's something more there that doesn't necessarily appear obvious just to anyone who is just viewing these things for the first time.
So Anthony, what is the truth here of this? There were bricks and rocks and cinder blocks being stored, and do you have a sense that any of this is paid or organized?
Oh, absolutely. To list the small group of organizations, you have the SEIU, you have the local teachers union, UTLA, that's out there funding all of this. You have the PSL, Party of Socialism and Liberation. You have Black Lives Matter. All these organizations have money, that they fundraise. They're putting out all these links online to help donate to fight back, quote unquote, fascism. You need to help us fight Trump and his fascist Gestapo that are descending upon Los Angeles. So that's why you see that it's very well organized. You see it's out there that for some reason there's pallets of bricks conveniently located. I actually discovered two different sites. The first one was kind of dismissed because I discovered the pallet of bricks next to a Home Depot. So there was a lot of people trying to deflect and say, well, of course, it's a Home Depot. But if you watch that video that I discovered of the pallets, it's the only pallet with cylinder blocks out there. There is no other pallet out there. There's no pallet of fertilizer. There's no pallet of anything else Home Depot sells. The only pallet that was out and that was used by the protesters was the cylinder blocks that were just conveniently located right in front of the staging area. And then on Saturday night, I also went and discovered that there was bricks right next to downtown LA. And this was just a random, that's the video you're showing right now. This was on a corner, tucked in, hidden from a plain view, but somehow protesters were able to make their way into it. And so what we're seeing here, right, kind of going back to what I had said, was that Gavin Newsom and LA City Mayor Bass are trying to blame this and shift the blame to Republicans and Donald Trump escalating the situation by National Guard. But it was actually 2 full days of attacks on law enforcement, DHS agents, and stand-down orders to the LAPD to do nothing with the protesters assaulting the agents. That is what activated what led to President Trump activating the National Guard and then essentially the Marines to act as interim until the National Guard is able to get on scene. But another thing that's very important to note is that people are trying to make it seem like it's a National Guard's presence that is inciting the violence, the fact that they're handling protesters. That couldn't be further from the truth. The reality is the National Guard is being used solely for the purpose of protecting federal buildings. That's it. That's the only location they're in. I haven't seen any National Guard make arrests, use weapons, hit protesters to any capacity. And what this does for people that are wondering, well, what's the National Guard there for? What you have to understand is you got to look back at the George Floyd riots, which I also covered from beginning to end, all the way to Derek Chauvin's verdict in Minneapolis. I was there on the ground. What you need to remember is police resources are already limited in Los Angeles because not only are they under-resourced and understaffed, but you have the pandemic that just, we're kind of still kind of going through that, where a lot of first responders were fired for failing to obey city mandates on masks or vaccines or what have you. And so what this does is it gives the law enforcement the time and the effort to be able to solely focus on arresting protesters and containment, while the federal National Guard and potentially the Marines are only going to be taking care of the buildings.
If you care about faith, family, and freedom, listen up. I'm proud to partner with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens. While AARP pushes a woke agenda, AMAC is fighting for Social Security, election integrity, and to make the Trump tax cuts permanent. You can get an AMAC membership for as little as $12 a year, and it includes your spouse. You also get discounts, benefits, and the AMAC magazine packed with conservative insight. Go to amac.us/Kirk and join the movement. That's amac.us/Kirk. Do it today. Guys, I want to ask you some specific questions about how you do what you do, but I want to make sure you both plug your social. Kalin first, and then Anthony, because that's how you guys really grow your platform. Kalin first.
Thanks, Charlie. So you can follow me on X or Instagram at From Kalin. That's FromKalin. And really, it's just a matter of being brave and staying out there, knowing what to look for and what to watch out for when you're on the ground, because in a lot of ways, you're watching out for these agitators. You don't know who they are. They're extremely unpredictable and violent. And so you're watching out for them. Then you're also trying to make sure that you're not going to be mistaken for one of them while you're covering what's going on. And other things, you know, if you see a burning American flag, let's go document that. If you see somebody breaking into a store and they're robbing all the Jordans, let's go document that. If you see them screaming and hurling insults or throwing things, or you find a pile of bricks or anything like that, there are certain things that we need to document in order to really tell the full story, because we know the mainstream media won't be doing that.
So, Anthony, let me ask you first, plug your social, Anthony, and then I want to ask, walk your audience through what you do. You embed yourself in these crowds. I hope everyone in the audience understands. Kalin and Anthony, they could get killed doing this. I know you guys know this. They could get seriously hurt. These are very, very dangerous environments. This is not just like, oh, you know, we're going to look at it. They are up right next to the agitators, right next to the rioters. I mean, they smell the funk of these lowlifes. Anthony, plug your social and tell us about that. I think the audience needs to develop an appreciation of the grittiness and the balls that you guys have. Anthony.
Thank you so much, Charlie. Yeah, so if you guys want to follow me on social media, I go by Informed with Anthony, as in like you are being informed. So Informed with Anthony on all socials. That's True Social. That is Instagram, TikTok even. We're showing the truth there of what's happening in LA. And then just on X, it's just my name, Anthony Kabasa _ You guys can check me out there. That's where I'm posting most of my footage is on X, because thankful to Elon Musk that bought it. You know, I covered the riots of George Floyd under Twitter 1.0, and I was actually banned the entire time of the riots. And so I'm just thankful that Elon bought X so that we can have free speech again and maybe make some money in the process. But yeah, that's a really good question. And Charlie, a really great point. Thank you so much for that. I'm an independent journalist. I've been doing independent journalism since 2017. I am a U.S. veteran. I have a family. I have a wife and 3 kids. We live in LA County. I'm just one of those conservative journalists, and just one of those conservatives and Christians that, yes, we could just get up and leave. You know, we can just sell our home and move to Tennessee, move to Florida. But I just believe that there's also a need for people to stay and fight. And so that's the motto that I live by. We have to stay here and fight. I don't want to cede a single inch of America to communists, to Marxists, to liberals. These people will not run me out of my home. I will stand up and fight no matter what. And that's what I do with my journalism. What people need to understand is about the mainstream media is when you have Antifa and these Marxists coming in and destroying property, they run the media out. Fox News is not welcome. If you work for Fox News and they recognize you, they will bully you until you leave. And if not, it can escalate from there. But I have been tear gassed. I've been shot at. You know, it's part of the work. I actually have, believe it or not, emails from ACLU and other left-wing kind of law firms that are begging me to join their lawsuits against Donald Trump and the federal government because I'm an independent journalist recording. But look, it's you know, as a veteran myself, I understand getting in the thick of it. I understand that it's kind of like guerrilla warfare style journalism. We don't have these fancy cameras worth thousands where we can just zoom in. We don't have a helicopter to zoom in via a camera like most of the news do. We have to get in there. And sometimes, yes, we get hit by police with rubber bullets or ricochets, whatever it might be. I've been tear gassed way too many times. I actually have developed a system with my wife that the moment I come in, I head straight to the garage. I'm not allowed inside the home smelling like funk. So we kind of have to, you know, do that stuff out on the outdoor. But yeah, you know, I'm very supported by all my audience members. I've got about 200,000 on Instagram. A lot of people have been donating to my links. And so it's just great. We're going to continue the work no matter what.
Let me just say one final thing here, which is very important. Can we show some of the images, guys? And I'll brag both on Kalin and Anthony here. You guys understand all these images we're seeing here are sourced from independent journalists. This is not legacy news media. Understand this. Let's show some of the burning of the cars and stuff. That if we do not have Frontlines, we don't have Anthony, we would not have the stories here. We would not have the truth of what's really going on. Instead, it would be synthesized and filtered through a media lens. So God bless you both, guys. Thank you so much. Anthony Kabasa and Kalin Dalamita. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Charlie.